What happens when you ignore a small leak in your home's foundation? At first, it's just a few drops. You might put a bucket under it and tell yourself you'll fix it when you have more time. But the water keeps dripping. Slowly, it damages the wood, weakens the structure, and eventually threatens the entire house. Back taxes operate exactly the same way. They start as a missed filing, an underpayment, or a miscalculation. For many high income earners, entrepreneurs, and business professionals, it's rarely an intentional act of defiance. It's often the result of an unexpected life event, a complex business transition, or simply the overwhelming pressure of too many priorities. But unlike a leaky pipe, the IRS doesn't just let the problem sit. They add interest, they add penalties, they send notices. And slowly, what was once a manageable oversight becomes a heavy, compounding weight that drains your financial momentum. Many people believe that back taxes are a permanent stain on their financial record. They think the only way out is a painful, drawn out battle with the IRS. But the truth is much more empowering. The tax code provides specific mechanisms to resolve past due balances. The challenge isn't the lack of options, it's the paralysis that keeps people from taking the first step. And that's what we're unpacking today. Hello, I'm Jovi Shari Brown, and welcome to the Sweet Spot Tax Podcast. In each episode, we take a deep dive into a Georgia Peach income tax sweet spot source document written by me. Guided by brief musical transitions, we'll explore 5 key areas: the deep dive, the psychology behind it, the sweet spot shift, actionable takeaways, and the clarity check. Along the way, we'll expand on the source document and explore the ideas, strategy, and questions behind it. Our goal is simple: to take complex topics and break them down into clear, practical ideas that are easy to understand and apply. Whether the topic is tech strategy, business growth, financial clarity, navigating IRS challenges, or decision making, the objective remains the same: to help you think more clearly and move more intentionally. Let's align with your sweet spot and begin today's deep dive. Let's dive into this. Back taxes are simply unpaid taxes from a previous year. They can occur for a variety of reasons: failing to file a return, underreporting income, not paying the full amount owed, or experiencing a sudden financial hardship that makes payment impossible. When you owe back taxes, the IRS doesn't just wait patiently. They initiate a collection process. This begins with a bill, a notice demanding payment. If ignored, the balance grows. The IRS is legally required to charge interest on unpaid taxes compounded daily. They also apply a failure to pay penalty, which is typically 0.5% for each month the tax remains unpaid, up to a maximum of 25%. If the situation remains unresolved, the IRS may escalate their collection efforts. They may file a notice of federal tax lien, which is a public claim against your property, alerting creditors that the government has a legal right to your assets. They can also issue a levy, allowing them to legally seize your property, including wages, bank accounts, and even real estate, to satisfy the debt. This sounds intimidating, and it is, but here's a critical pivot. The IRS actually prefers resolution over aggressive collection. They offer several structured pathways to fix back taxes. First, there are installment agreements. If you cannot pay your full balance, you can arrange to pay it off over time. For balances under $50,000, the IRS offers streamlined agreements that can stretch up to 72 months. Second, there is currently not collectible, or CNC status. If paying your tax debt would prevent you from meeting your basic living expenses, the IRS can temporarily halt collection activities. Your debt doesn't disappear and interest still accrues, but the immediate pressure of levies and liens is paused while you regain your financial footing. Third, there is the offer and compromise, or OIC. This is the option most heavily advertised on late night television or social media. An OIC allows you to settle your debt for less than the full amount owed. However, it is not a magic wand. The IRS only accepts an OIC if they determine that they cannot collect the full amount before the collection statute of limitation expires, and they strictly evaluate your ability to pay income, expenses, and asset equity. Finally, there is penalty abatement. In some cases, if you have a history of compliance but experienced a significant hardship, like a serious illness or natural disaster, the IRS may remove the penalties associated with your back taxes. They also offer a first time penalty abatement for taxpayers who have a clean record for the prior 3 years. The mechanics of fixing back taxes are well defined. The real barrier is rarely the math, it's the mindset. So, what's the psychology behind it? When faced with a threatening, complex problem like IRS debt, the human brain often defaults to one of our oldest survival mechanisms, the freeze response. In behavioral finance, this is closely tied to the concept of the ostrich effect, the tendency to avoid negative financial information by metaphorically burying our heads in the sand. When an IRS envelope arrives in the mail, the amygdala, the brain's fear center, lights up. It perceives the notice not just as a financial issue, but as a direct threat to our safety and status. To cope with this anxiety, many intelligent, capable professionals simply put the unopened envelope in a drawer. They rationalize the delay. I'll deal with it when my next big deal closes. I'll handle it when I have more time. But this avoidance creates a destructive feedback loop. The longer the problem is ignored, the larger the debt grows due to penalties and interest. As the debt grows, the shame and anxiety increase, making it even harder to confront the issue. The cognitive load of carrying this unresolved secret drains mental energy, leading to decision fatigue in other areas of life and business. You become less focused, less strategic, and more reactive. Breaking the cycle requires a shift in perspective. It requires moving from a state of emotional avoidance to a state of cognitive engagement. It means recognizing that the IRS notice is not a judgment of your character. It is simply a math problem that requires a procedural solution. We'll continue our discussion in a moment. First, a brief word from Georgia Peach Income Tax.
Financial success creates opportunity, but it also creates complexity. Tax decisions affect more than forms. They affect your cash flow, your business, your peace of mind, and your long term financial future. That's why the Sweet Spot Tax podcast is powered by Georgia Peach Income Tax, strategic tax advisory, and IRS representation built for clarity. Whether you're planning ahead, facing an IRS notice, dealing with back taxes, organizing your business, or seeking a clearer path forward, Georgia Peach Income Tax helps you move from stress to strategy and from uncertainty to clarity. Visit www.georgiapeachtax.com to access tax calculators, educational resources, IRS tools, AI assisted insights, and practical guidance designed to help you make smarter financial decisions before money moves. If you're looking for strategic tax advisory, IRS representation, or personalized support, call 229 395 3625. And if you'd like ongoing education, tax insights, live discussions, and access to everything from free resources to premium and VIP tax strategy experiences, join the Sweet Spot Tax community on School. Because the goal isn't simply filing a tax return, the goal is making better financial decisions with confidence. Visit www.georgiapeachtax.com, call 229 395 3625, or join the Sweet Spot Tax community on School today. Georgia Peach Income Tax, protection, strategy, financial clarity.
Most people think that dealing with back taxes is about surrendering to the IRS. The real benefit of confronting past due taxes is reclaiming your financial autonomy. That's the sweet spot shift. When you owe back taxes, the IRS holds a significant amount of leverage over your financial life. They dictate the timeline, the penalties, and potentially the fate of your assets. You are operating in a reactive state, constantly looking over your shoulder. The shift happens when you decide to lead the resolution process. By proactively engaging with the IRS, whether through a tax professional or on your own, you change the dynamic. You move from being the target of a collection process to being a participant in a negotiation. You begin to use the tax code to your advantage. You leverage installment agreements to protect your cash flow. You utilize penalty abatement to reduce your liability. You strategically apply for currently not collectible status to buy time. This is not just about paying debt. It is about designing a financial system that prevents the debt from destroying your wealth. It is about acknowledging the past, restructuring the present, and protecting the future. If today's discussion resonates with you, here are 4 practical actions you can take immediately. Number 1, open the mail. It sounds simple, but it is the most critical step. You cannot solve a problem you refuse to measure. Gather all your IRS notices and determine exactly what years are missing and exactly how much is owed. Number 2, ensure all past returns are filed. The IRS will not negotiate an installment agreement or an offer in compromise if you have unfiled tax returns. Even if you cannot pay the balance, file the returns to stop the massive failure to file penalties. Number 3, assess your actual ability to pay. Look at your cash flow objectively. Can you pay the balance in full with a loan? Can you afford a monthly payment? Or are you truly in a hardship situation? Understanding your numbers is essential before you propose a solution to the IRS. Number 4, seek professional representation. Dealing with IRS collections is a specialized field. An enrolled agent, CPA, or tax attorney can act as a buffer between you and the IRS. They understand the procedural nuances, the negotiation tactics, and the specific forms required to secure the best possible outcome. They remove the emotion from the equation. We've spent today's episode discussing back taxes, penalties, and resolution strategies. But perhaps the bigger lesson isn't about the IRS at all. Perhaps it's about the cost of carrying unresolved burdens. Unpaid taxes are a heavy weight. They consume mental bandwidth. They limit your options. They cast a shadow over your success. Every dollar earned feels slightly less yours when you know the government has a claim on it. Strategic people understand that unresolved problems do not age well. They recognize that avoidance is the most expensive strategy of all. They know that true financial clarity requires confronting the uncomfortable realities of their balance sheet. Because the IRS is not going away. The tax code is not going to rewrite itself to forgive your debt. The only variable you can control is your response. The real question isn't whether you made a mistake in the past. Many successful people do. The deeper question is whether you will allow a past mistake to dictate your future financial freedom. Ask yourself, am I managing my financial life with clarity and intention, or am I letting avoidance quietly erode my wealth? That's today's clarity check. Thank you for listening to the Sweet Spot Tax Podcast. For more tools, resources, and strategic insights, visit www.georgiapeachtax.com. Join the Sweet Spot Tax community on School or call 229-395-3625. Again, visit www.georgiapeachtax.com. Join the Sweet Spot Tax community on School or call 229-395-3625. Whether you're looking for tax strategy, IRS representation, or greater financial clarity, we're here to help. Georgia Peach Income Tax, Protection, Strategy, Financial Clarity. Until next time, align with your sweet spot and move with clarity.